We all go a little mad sometimes.
Get you.
You are under destiny.
Here's Johnny.
Hello and welcome to the Horror Hour, a place where we discuss, we debate, we disagree on all things horror. I'm one of the co-hosts here, Yutaka. Hello. And today I'm joined by a fellow new co-host, Yousef.
Hello. I have arrived, finally.
Ooh.
I know all of you have been dying to see me.
He can easily be replaced, y'all. Easily.
Hey.
Honestly, yes, Ben is still dead, but we expect him back sometime in the near future.
Definitely.
So I'm really excited because we've got a film to review and I don't have to do it solo. Yay! So I'm actually going to let Yousef take the reins. So Yousef, what are we reviewing today?
Today, Yutaka, we are reviewing Hellbender, which is going to be premiering on Shudder on February 24th. This is a really cool premise. So 16-year-old Izzy leads an isolated life on a lonely mountaintop. All she's learned is from her protective mother and the wilderness that swallows them. Izzy dreams of a live gig, but her mother thinks she's too sick and mustn't be around others. Questioning her illness and starved for companionship, Izzy sneaks down the mountain where she befriends Brazen Amber. Izzy is in heaven until a cruel drinking game with a live worm unleashes a new kind of hunger. We've all been there, haven't we?
We have. Hey,
yeah.
You know what? Tequila does that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tequila makes me angry.
Story of my life. No, I don't drink, Mom. Anyway.
Wow.
What did you think of the movie, Yutaka?
So let's talk. Well, first off, let's talk about the things we liked.
Yeah.
So first off, I love, and looking into this, I love that this is like, well, it's a family operation, which I thought was incredible. So it's really 4 people that are making this film. They're doing the directing, the writing, the acting, the music. So I really love that. Specifically, I will say one of the biggest highlights is the music to me, because I love those little interludes where we're seeing them perform, well, technically as their band, Hellbender. I thought that was really fucking cool. Yeah. I think the acting was not too bad, because I really appreciated the relationship between the mother and daughter, and to see how, it starts out and then to later how it, I would say, fractures. I really enjoyed seeing that progression. The other thing, wherever they found to film this, that was gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
I was just eating it up. I just loved the scenery. So kudos to them. They had some really beautiful, beautiful shots in this film.
Yeah.
How about yourself? What did you like about it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't know until we started filming this that it was the whole family. I should have known, because I literally had the letterbox thing in front of me, but my stupid eyes couldn't see that they all had the same last name. But I think that's a really cool premise, that like this entire family did everything, from the cinematography to the sound to the editing to the music. I agree with you that I think the music was the strongest point. Like, I think a lot, like I could listen to the score just by itself and I would just have a great time. I think the concept of the story was really cool. And like, as you said, like the shots, like there was a lot of inventive shots in there. And anytime when they were in the forest, I was just like, this is gorgeous. This is really nice. So that's what I think. Also I loved, I just love that the mother, Toby Poser, who also like wrote and directed the film and did everything, was kind of giving like Catherine Hahn type of vibe for me. Like she was like, she reminded me a lot of like Agatha from like WandaVision a little bit. And I was like, okay, that's how you get the mainstream in there, is like you gotta,
okay, sure,
you gotta mention
I can
something
see that.
like that.
Can I also say, since we talked about the scenery, one of the other things is when they were eating in those plates.
Yeah.
That looked gorgeous, even though I'm like, that looks bland and I don't want to eat that. But I was like, wow, that's pretty.
It did look very nice. Yeah. Like
Oh.
the whole, like, yeah, no, go ahead.
Well, I was going to comment, when you mentioned the concept, I will also say I really enjoyed that story and where it went in the end. I liked that a lot.
Yes.
So with that,
So,
let's talk about the things we didn't like.
all right.
I'm going to let you go first.
All right. So I'm not like, I'm a horror fan, but Yutaka knows this. I'm not really, I watch so much stuff that I don't really have time to watch like the lower budget type of horror films. Like
He means
stuff like
independent
this.
films.
No, I watch independent films. I don't watch independent horror films, in my defense, because they're not accessible, which is why I love Shudder,
That's true.
because it like you can watch them all. But like, you know, Cineplex ain't gonna play stuff like this, unfortunately, which they should.
This would have been great on. Would love to have seen those forest shots on the big screen.
I agree. I think though there were some aspects of the movie that felt a little bit like it was giving film school vibes. This felt a little bit like a student film in some of the like sound design and the color correction and stuff like that. And in some of the performances, I feel like three of the family members, Zelda Adams, John Adams, and Toby Poser, directed the film. I think if one of them kind of took the reins, probably not John, because looking at the letterbox like credits, he also did the editing, the sound, the composing, the cinematography. So he has enough on his plate. But like, let one of them just kind of take it on and focus on their vision, I think would have really benefited the film. I see a lot of potential in the entire family here. Like, I think how we have like the Russo brothers and the Coen brothers, I think to have like an actual family, and their last name is Adam, for Christ's sake. Like the Adams family, as like directed by the Adams family, could you imagine that? I could see them going and doing bigger and better things. So this was like a good first step, and there was like aspects that I like here. But I think overall, there were some things that could have been perfected a little bit more for me.
Good first step. It's their 6th film. Okay.
Good 6th step then.
Wow.
Like with a bigger budget.
Okay. But I will say, I totally get where you're coming from, that we could have had more, it didn't lack, or it lacked clear direction, is what I'm hearing. And I can totally understand that, because sometimes it did feel out of focus in terms of where the story sometimes went. Even though I enjoyed it, I think that there were certain aspects that we just didn't need.
Yeah.
And I won't say those because I don't want to spoil anything, but I do think there was just some stuff added to the film that maybe was just to lengthen it. I'm not sure. It just didn't feel warranted. Another thing that if you don't have the budget, now I watch a lot of independent horror, so I see Yousef's complaint with that, but that's not that really huge to me because of what I've watched, but also I think what they're given access wise. I mean, it's hard to when it comes to independent horror films. If you don't, though, have the budget to do maybe some special effects, stick with practical. I'm a huge fan of practical effects. And so there were certain times where more towards the end, that's where I was just like, I didn't need it.
Yeah.
I was like, the practical effects alone were great, because I will say there was a kill. I really liked what happened. That was fun. And I thought they did that great, but I didn't need some of the other elements, so to speak, because that took me away. But I mean, I wouldn't say film school. That's a little harsh in my opinion. This is where we disagree. This is where we disagree. Exactly. Because I think I have more props than I have complaints. Because I think I also really do appreciate the fact that it's a family production, and that's, like you said, it's a lot on their plate. But I think there's also something to be said that, this clearly is their love, their passion, and like I feel that in the film, and so that's why maybe I enjoyed it a little bit more. But again, I will say I do love a good original concept. And
Exactly.
this was an original concept.
Yes.
So overall, if we were to give it on a scale of 1 to 10,
yes.
I'll give mine first since I already heard yours. But with everything together, and I'm still thinking, you know, I loved the concept. It was original. I really think they did a great job with so many of those shots. And when they did practical effects, I was a fan. I'd give it an 8.
Okay.
I'm going that high. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yousef.
I unfortunately didn't give it that high. I normally scale, like, I don't like scaling things, but I've recently started doing it because I have been on Letterboxd, and so I'm used to like the 5-star thing. So I gave it a 3. I initially gave it a 2.5, but I feel like when you put it into a 10 scale, 5 seems a little hard. So I'm gonna give it a 6. It's still a positive rating. It's above average.
It's true.
I think for me, I'm not used to like the low budget, like micro budget horror films yet. So I feel like with a couple more, I'll like start to appreciate the little things. But I'm a pretentious film kid, so
he is. So
yeah.
guys, I
Don't take
know what
anything
you're
I
saying.
say.
You're like, oh my God, why
Yeah.
did you bring him on here? Because there's one thing I do love about Yousef. He does pick up on some really great details. And yes, he's a bit of a pretentious ass when it comes to film.
Very. Yeah.
That being said, he's like film Twitter who doesn't appreciate horror. But we're working on that. We're going to work on that.
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because there's like, again, there are so many great horror films out there. And I think this is one of them. And there's a ton of shit horror films out there. And we're going to review some of them too.
Ooh,
so with that, you know, comment down below if you've seen this. Let us know what you think, what you liked, what you didn't like. If Yousef's pretentious, we love to hear that. And theories on what happened to Ben. And so just make sure to hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell. That way you're notified of every time that we post new content. And just as a reminder, because I just realized we don't really ever do this, but Tuesdays are when we actually drop our official podcast episode. So you could always listen to that as well. But thank you, Yousef.
Thank you.
Love seeing your face.
Love seeing yours too.
It doesn't sound right coming from you. You could just say,
I know.
Great
Sounds
seeing
weird.
you.
Great
So
seeing you
awkward.
too. Thank you. Yutaka.
Jesus.
I don't see your face, but I hear your voice every Tuesday.
Now see that's promotion.
That's how you do it.
All right.
Exactly.
So with that, thank you so much. And until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.